I'm Claire Waters. You'll know me from the property updates that I do fairly regularly. Today I've got James Millis with me. He's a partner in our property litigation team, and he's going to talk about some updates affecting the residential tenancies and the latest government reforms. So James, there's an updated How to Rent booklet.
Yes, there is, Claire. So the How to Rent booklet, the checklist for renting in England, is a government prescribed form. It's a new edition. It has been around now for about 8 years. Mm-hmm. It's part of the prescribed information that landlords have to give tenants at the start of a residential or short hold tenancy, and it's important they give it the latest version. This edition has been issued March 2023 and took effect from the 24th of March. So
do landlords have to give this latest version to their tenants now?
So they're not required to give it straight away. Basically, if it's a new tenancy or a renewal that's just occurred, then they have to give the latest version. But if it's a current fixed term tenancy or it has become a continuation periodic tenancy prior to this change, then they're not required to rush straight away and provide it. But it's probably not a bad idea to give it in due course. The main key is that if there's currently a tenancy and it turns either into a periodic, continuing, rolling monthly tenancy, or they enter into a new agreement, then they need to make sure they reissue and give this latest version at the start of that new tenancy.
So what's changed then, James, since the last booklet?
Well, it's all very exciting, but the key thing they've done is to change the colour scheme. So the old version was a green version. This has now got this on, but what is quite helpful is the date of the new edition is stated on the top of every page, so there can't be an easy confusion as to which version is being dealt with. So the old version dates back to December 2020, so we haven't had a change for a while. In terms of the content, most of it is fairly minor changes, but it does update information relating to certain requirements. So, for example, the need for carbon monoxide alarms in every room which has a fixed fuel burning appliance. That's a change. Also, reference to electrical installation reports, EICR safety reports, that have to be provided to tenants. There's some helpful information for tenants in there, for example, about getting smart meters fitted, because that's obviously quite a hot topic with affordability and energy costs. And also reference to the need for guidance relating to whether or not a property is suitable for someone with disabilities, and whether there can be reasonable adaptations to the property at the tenant's request, which the landlord is required to consider if they're reasonable adaptations to make it more accessible. There's also at the back a whole section of updated sources of further information, which they've updated some of the links, and therefore it's sort of useful information for landlords and tenants alike.
So James, what are the consequences if the landlord fails to give that information to the tenant?
Well, the main issue is the landlord won't have complied with their legal obligations to provide prescribed information at the start of the tenancy. But the main issue about there being a sanction is that if the landlord wanted to try and recover possession of the property under Section 21 no-fault grounds, as they're referred to, a landlord couldn't serve a valid notice until that prescribed information has been given and the latest version provided.
You mentioned no-fault eviction. What does that mean?
So the concept of a no-fault eviction is specific to assured short-hold tenancies, and it's reference to a Section 21 Housing Act notice. And the concept of no-fault is really that no reason. Effectively, the tenant has done nothing wrong, and it's simply because it is a specific type of assured short-hold tenancy, the landlord is entitled to recover possession upon giving not less than 2 months' notice in a prescribed form.